So, for most of these moveset videos, I've been lying to myself. I look at the Pokemon and I think, finally, a quick and easy guide. And then I ramble for 15 minutes about damage calculations and the meta. Does that finally change with Wo Chien? Because we have a Pokemon that is actually simple and straightforward, and you don't need to get too deep into it because there's nothing like crazy busted to ramble on for 10 minutes. We got the dark grass typing, so let's start there. You gotta terrestrialize this Pokemon. So there is going to be some complexity into building a team around the Terra type you want to use, and also making sure you have Pokemon that aren't going to be very dependent on Terra types themselves, because that's just way too many weaknesses. And on the off chance you see Bug, that's just 4x from the KO, but Fire, Fairy, Ice, those are common. Flying, everything's going Terra Flying because we're in a Fissure meta. Poison, that's anti-Fairy, and Fighting, Breloom, I guess. Like, you just don't want to see these, and we pick up some resistances, but it's just not worth it. So that's going to kind of guide how we play this Pokemon. As for the moveset, it's also pretty straightforward. You know, you go Leapseed, got Ruination, which is going to really combo into your bulk, and that's effectively all this Pokemon is. It's good bulk. We don't have the best special tank, we don't have the best physical tank, we don't have something that is like the signature ace for its theming. It's just a bundle of grass stats. And that's kind of where we can start looking around on this Pokemon. So, Leechseed. Is this the best tank leech seeding Pokemon? Potentially. So, I mean, we have Appleton, and once like Key and Moringa berries come out, oh, Appleton is going to be nuts. And if we scroll down a bit, okay, there's a boy. 85, 100, 135. So, like, special tanking is going to be pretty strong. Tropius, and we're tankier than Tropius. Appleton, we're technically tankier than Appleton and Go-Goat. So it's one of those weird things where you have to like look at what this Pokemon wants to do, and then you kind of draw conclusions. What does it mean to be the tankiest Leech Seed Pokemon in the game? Probably good things, especially if you can like Terra out of all of your weaknesses. So we just play into that. Max out hit points, max out defense, calm nature, everything kind of balances out. And then you just want to be a Leech Seed Stolly kind of Pokemon. So you Leech Seed them, you protect, your leftovers get all your health back, your Ruination, and then you just kind of wear every Pokemon down. And the Tablets of Ruin means that you just take less physical damage. So it's one of those things like, this is just broken. Like, the whole Ruin theming on all the legendaries, it's just ridiculous. I'm trying to downplay it on this Pokemon because it's not as ridiculous as Chien Pao or Ting Lu. But it's still one of those things where the opponent just does 25% less physical damage to you. So I guess you can like play into that. Or again, now you're just like an incredibly proficient physical tank, but your naturally high special defense just works. And 70 speed. That kind of plays into the Leech Seed as well, because we actually outspeed a lot of tanks and problematic tanky Pokemon. So we just have the edge against them, and that kind of leaves room for a last thing. So, like a lot of modern Pokemon, the moveset is overly restrictive. Like, it just kind of feels awkward, the tools that you have to work with, that there's no, like, outlier move that could end up breaking the Pokemon. Just kind of standard stuff for the Pokemon you would expect. A lot of lack of type diversity and stuff. So, I mean, you can get rid of the Terra Blast, put in the knockoff, and then that's going to give you coverage. You can have the Fire Terra type just as, like, a nice synergy thing. But really, the reason why I have Fire here is for the Terra Blast, because what are you going to do against Grass-type Pokemon? You can't Leech Seed them. That's kind of most of your gimmick on, like, doing an eighth into a half on the Ruination and just cutting out any sustain from the opposing Pokemon. So yeah, you actually need to hit Grass-type Pokemon for that super effective, and that's just going to be really strong. Also, Fire, not the worst type to have, and again, we're cutting down on physical, so we'll tank out an Earthquake, and then we can Leech Seed leftovers and protect through a couple of those, and eventually just kind of chip the opponent down. So, it's one of those things where this Pokemon's actually really strong, but it's so honest compared to the other busted Pokemon in the game. I feel like I'm downplaying it. Like, it's just good. And we've seen very annoying and impressive Leech Seed Pokemon. What happens when the tankiest Leech Seeder comes into the game? And it can also just wear down anything. Like, you're not allowed to recover into this. Does Wo Chien actually just beat Garganasalt? Because you're healing up all the Salt Curing, and then anytime it tries to recover, you just Ruination, and then it tries to recover and you Ruination. Eventually, it just runs out of recovers while you have more Ruinations, and you just win off the Leech Seed. I guess the only problem at that point becomes Fissure. I'm not saying we need to go Flying Wo-Chien, but that could actually work because we're trying to anti-grass here. So if that's where the meta needs to go, there it is. I'm starting to wonder if if Ice types actually just come back, because Chien Pao going to have a good time into flying Terra type Pokemon for the anti-Fissure, or I don't know. It's kind of messy, but it's one of those things like this is like a moveset from back when I started doing this series, and I don't know how. I feel like you just say it. You're like, you run this. We all know it's good. We don't know if it's going to be insanely good, but it almost feels too simple for the modern Pokemon that's been developing over the last couple of generations. I don't know. As for some other things we can do, we got a 95 special attack. That's workable. We can go into full defensive tank if we want to, because we can run Snarl. So the idea just kind of being yeah, we absorb any kind of physical attackers between our abilities and stuff. We can Giga Drain all the damage back. We get that Leech Seed down. Sub against tanky Pokemon. That's where that 70 speed matters. You sub in front of a Gargantuar. What are they going to do? You sub in front of a Pokemon that, an Amoonguss. Well, actually, Amoonguss wouldn't spore you, but a Toxapex that could Toxic you. So, I mean, you lay down the sub, and then you Sub-Seed on the tankiest Pokemon. Is that just better? Or do you play around a different way? And then you can use Giga Drain to get your health back, and you can Snarl down special threats and eventually kind of work it out. Speed Creep EV, that's just kind of where we are right now, because it's such a bulky, tanky meta that actually outspeeding the other tanks or your similar mirror matchups really, really matters. Because of our special defense, we can still put in some of that investment, comboing, synergizing with Tablets of Ruin. Because we need to make sure we're not a 2-hit KO after Snarl. We need that Snarl turn it into a 3-hit KO and then pull some shenanigans. But a very powerful special attack is still going to wreck us. Might see Terra type normal here. That's not a, hey, you need this. It's just kind of saying, whatever gets the most weaknesses off of you probably works, because these stats, the opponent's going to struggle if they can't hit you super. Because then you're just 3-4 hit KO and you're Sub-Seeding. So this is more anti-tank, but you still want to feel like you can do something against stronger Pokemon. Also not Careful, because that's minus special attack. Calm, always get those ones confused. And then you kind of have to be smart about how you do it. It's do you Snarl the special attacker, then just try to raw Giga Drain off of them? Is there going to be a situation where the Leech Seed actually buys you an extra turn? So you want to Leech Seed, then Giga Drain, and ignore the Snarl in some special setups? I don't know. Grass-type Pokemon just do well into Rotomwash, and that's kind of a popular Pokemon, so you just sit this guy in there and Giga Drain it down. Takes a couple hits, but you're gonna be fine. I don't know. These are just kind of ideas. Maybe you find a way to make this work. Just kind of wanted to show, there has to be something else in this limited moveset that might be neat, but it's more just kind of a very classic, simple idea that isn't, super crazy broken. Do you... Now, I wonder, if you risk the sub here, because, the Protect Leech Seed can be the most annoying, frustrating thing, but if the game is, super bulky, then sub is effectively that, but better against tanks. If you just actually get it off in front of a tanky Pokemon, I don't say win the game on the spot, but you get super far ahead. So, we got that, and then, this Pokemon is also just weird bulk. And because of that, it gets Light Screen Reflect. Do we just play this? Do we just go Light Screen Reflect, Light Clay, we're a 5-hit KO or something, or maybe the numbers get weird. We're a 3-hit KO, but after the first hit, it's we take a big hit, set up the Reflect, and now we just can't lose. So then you can Light Screen, you can set up a Leech Seed, and this is also where things get really unique, because you Leech Seed, get a touch of your health back, and then you just provide a safe switch for your ally Pokemon, but we've never seen Light Screen Reflect setup Pokemon with such a competent Leech Seed. So that means the Pokemon switches in, takes a hit that's cut in half by Reflect Light Screen, gets some of their health back with Leech Seed, and then the opposing Pokemon is just very uncomfortable. They're now in a losing matchup, that's extra losing because of Reflect Light Screen, that's also making them feel worse because they're seeded and they're just getting chipped away into now potential damage swinging things. This might just be better than any kind of baton pass strategy, because you're effectively just giving everything your allied Pokemon needs to succeed. Then it can set up for itself with the Leapseed, with the Force Switch, with the 6 or 5 turns of half damage, and then we just have knockoff here for the tech. And in a weird way, this Pokemon can fight for itself too. I don't know, like, what that becomes winning, but I mean, maybe there's a weird situation. Opponent's at 30-ish%, you're still at 40%, and then you just like set up, reflect, leech seed it, knock off, and that's game. Maybe. That seems like it makes sense. So a lot of this has just been kind of figuring out what to do with the bundle of stats and the not deep move pool, but there's like enough here, you know. We just have utilizing the bulk with some like offensive pressure that kind of feels like it works. We just become the most annoying Leech Seed Pokemon because that's it. I did the searches. I looked the thing up and I went, it's just the best at this. So why not? Like, if you're going to plan on anything like that, just use the Pokemon that's the best at thing, is kind of my idea for tackling this guy. And then, yeah, also Tablets of Ruin. Again, depends like how you want to change up those EVs. No damage calculations. Nothing going too crazy or too deep on this one. This could also preserve a Terra type, but man, it is one of those things, like, unless you're eating like a way too powerful super effective hit, then yeah, like you can eat a super, reflect it, light screen it, and then still get another turn to like do anything. Also, you can just be a sacrifice Pokemon. Like if you actually, no, kind of doesn't work that way because you don't outspeed anything, but if you are outspeeding something, that could just be like a really crazy sacrifice. Like reflect, take a huge hit from like a 60 speed Pokemon, light screen, take a huge hit, get the Leech Seed, then get KO'd. That's still fine. Like, as long as you get this setup off, which is going to be very reliable behind this bulk, Pokemon comes in, gets the most usage out of it, and then Leech Seed's making it feel bad. Maybe you like knock off something super bad that you might have to deal with later, like a Rotom comes in, just knock it off immediately. Don't even care about the reflect light screen. Don't even risk the trick, because a lot of Rotoms, like, they're not tricking, and that could be problematic for your tanky Pokemon if that could become an issue. So just knock it off, let Wo-Chien absorb that, but if it keeps one of your bulky Pokemon safe, yeah, this into whatever, and then you win the game. I guess it's that simple. I don't know what else to say. Generation 9 has me all kinds of messed up. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.